Sean Diddy Combs is back in the spotlight today after federal agents raided his homes in Miami and Los Angeles last week. The New York Post reports today that authorities will widen the investigation into Diddy's past. Tanya Rubin, a victim of a 1999 Club New York shooting, told this to News Nation. Let's listen.
I'm willing to have a doctor remove a part of the 9mm bullet in my face so that they can use it as evidence if need be for this trial.
Almost 25 years ago, Sean Combs, his then-girlfriend Jennifer Lopez, his bodyguard Anthony Wolf Jones, and rapper Jamal Barrow were arrested following a shooting inside a Times Square club that wounded 3 bystanders. Now, if that isn't enough, the record label named in Rodney Lil Rod Jones' lawsuit accusing Sean Diddy Combs of sexual abuse is sending a letter to a federal judge seeking their dismissal from that lawsuit.
Ooh, so this has been a story that has gotten bigger as opposed to smaller as time has gone on, in part because of all of these civil lawsuits that have been filed, not just before the raid last week, but on the day of the raid and since then. You mentioned this civil suit filed by Lil Rod. He alleges that he's seen Combs display his guns and brag about getting away with shooting people. Combs' attorney has responded saying that Lil Rod is nothing more than a liar who filed a $30 million lawsuit, shamelessly looking for an undeserved payday. But the Lil Rod allegations do provide potentially some interesting context for, again, this 1999 club shooting that resulted in that young woman, Rubin, being shot in the face and still living with
having shrapnel. That is crazy.
Right, and another kind of point of public interest in this case is that at the time, of course, Diddy was dating Jennifer Lopez. In one of these civil suits, there's an allegation that she is the one that brought, of course, just an allegation, but brought the gun inside of the club. Questions about what she knew at the time and how much she knew about it, especially if reportedly, Diddy is someone who has been bragging about how he's been able to get away and get off from these gun charges. After the 99 club shooting, his friend, one of their associates, was charged with 10 years in jail for that, but Diddy was not implicated.
Yeah, and you can pay to make civil lawsuits go away. You can't pay to make a federal investigation go away. So I think this feels like the tip of the iceberg. This feels like we're about to get into some real stuff that has been buried a long time, that has been alluded to in terms of sexual behavior at his properties. I think last time we talked about this, we played the clip of Usher being asked about it on Howard Stern all those years back. Usher, underage at the time, says he was underage.
Very
when he
underage,
lost
13 years old.
Virginity there,
right.
Kind of alluding to the things going on. Now of these new accusations of sexual misconduct, I think one of them does concern a woman who was underage at the time. So we're getting into some bad territory.
Right. Now, Diddy seems to have retained Mark Garagos, who is a well-known celebrity lawyer. He represented Winona Ryder in the midst of her store theft cases. Remember that all those years ago, in scores and scores of other celebrities. He did an interview on News Nation as well, and he was saying that there's something a little bit odd about of course he's representing Diddy, but he's saying that there's something odd about the kind of order of events as they unfold. That typically the raid is the apotheosis of an investigation, but in this instance, the investigation seems to have followed the raid, suggesting that they didn't have enough to arrest him, and now they're trying to build a case after the fact.
Well, that is what the attorney
argument
would say, obviously.
And of course,
and they've not arrested Diddy yet.
Right, and he's also made the allegation that this is proceeding very quickly, implicitly, suspiciously quickly, but that being his only sort of kind of qualification and response here, or his substantial qualification and response in the context of the interview, suggests to me that Diddy is potentially facing quite a bit of trouble. And I think that your point about the difference between the civil suits, which so far he's been able to make go away, notably the suit from his former partner Cassie at the end of last year that alleged very serious sexual misconduct, was settled at that time. But that did seem to be the kind of the opening of the Pandora's box to all of these other investigations, including this federal raid.
Yes, we should note that I don't think we brought this up last time, but further reporting from the Daily Mail, from Us Weekly, has said that Diddy's two sons, Justin and King, they were detained and handcuffed during these raids. So they are, and they're 25 and 30. So they're not underage.
No, they were detained. I did see discourse about whether or not that was necessary or appropriate. I mean, one of the arguments that is being made by the feds is that obviously if you warn people as to the fact that they're about to be investigated, that they're about to be raided, and you're trying to procure physical evidence, then you don't want to tip anybody off. And there have been allegations about what kind of corroborating materials might exist at the house.
Right.
We don't know yet about what was collected, the nature of what was collected, or if there's anything that would implicate Diddy more seriously in a federal investigation.
Right. What you think of as what you would think of in terms of a raid of this kind would be, frankly, would be drugs and guns. Although the drugs has not been. These are sexual allegations, so I don't know. Or maybe a box of documents he kept shouldn't have had.
But there also obviously there is this. There is the gun charge that's implicated by Rubin, who is volunteering to provide additional evidence.
He hasn't been accused of like gun running or stockpiling weapons, but they find something.
The rap artist who filed the civil suit did, as part of his allegations, accuse him of bragging about getting away with gun offenses and shooting and gun possession and those kinds of things. So I do think this is all on the table. It's all fair play, which does raise some questions. Are they trying to throw stuff at the wall to see what sticks because they're out to get Diddy and this is a motivated prosecution? Or is it the case that he has been a person in the public eye for a very long time that's been very closely affiliated with a lot of kind of tragedy and bad acts that have happened within the hip hop community? And now, because of perhaps his fading star in the industry, the willingness of people to come forward now, all of the stuff that he has avoided is just sticking. It's not that it's a bad faith attack. It's just that finally we're getting to a tipping point where the evidence is sufficient that Diddy will ultimately be held not just civilly but criminally accountable for some of the things that he's alleged to have done.
Or is this just now in the post-Me Too era we're not letting people get away with this kind of stuff no matter how long ago it was. It's being resurfaced. I think that might be the...
the Me Too era has been going on for a long time, and I would argue that we're far from its peak, frankly. It does seem, even in the case of Weinstein and Bill Cosby, apologies.
Watch it there.
That it did become, it wasn't that there was new information all at once, but that it got to a fever pitch. Enough people came forward that it was difficult to ignore or frankly even pay off. And if we look at how much money it seems to have taken in the past to settle various lawsuits, it's one thing to say with one person, with Cassie, I'm going to be able to make that go away. Does even someone like Diddy have enough money to settle the rap artist's suit was for $30 million? Now, I presume that he would settle potentially for much less than that. But even someone like Diddy has to be looking at the checkbook and saying, can I really manage all of these civil suits with money?
Yeah, it is fascinating. We're revisiting that shootout involving Jennifer Lopez, and this is going back 25 years now. It's interesting to have that all finally brought back into focus, and someone willing to testify, willing to have surgery or an operation to have shrapnel removed to provide new information on that case that's 25 years old is incredible.
Well, it is worth noting also that Rubin testified at that case back then, and she said that she saw Diddy shoot the gun in her face, but that testimony wasn't sufficient to get any kind of conviction back then. So I think it's probably worth revisiting what conflicting testimony said.
Yeah.
I presume there was some reasonable reason.
I saw you shoot me in the face.
Yeah.
Seems like pretty persuasive testimony to me.
Well, not if there are other witnesses that say something different. So it's worth keeping in mind that there was a different kind of judicial outcome at the time, and we'll see if any of this evidence changes the equation. We'll definitely keep up with this story and let you know when there are new updates. Do stick around. We have more Rising for you coming up next.